Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, where we sit down and talk with interesting professional guitar players, uncover their stories, and discover what makes them tick. If you love guitar, music, and the backstory of people's lives, stick around. You're in the right place. This is an important announcement for anyone who wants to advertise here on Everyone Loves Guitar. Over the last 9 months alone, we've had 425,000 more downloads, added over 25,000 monthly listens, and grown our YouTube subscriber base by 72 times. During this time, we've kept our advertising rates consistent, but we will be increasing rates on January 1st. So if you're a business looking to generate new leads or increase your cash flow by picking up new clients or customers, or if you're a label looking to promote new music, then listen up. For information on advertising on Everyone Loves Guitar, fill in the short form at everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Again, that's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Even if you want to advertise next year, you'll get to lock into marketing your product or service at the current rates before rates go up at the end of this year. You know, much of your success as an online business, especially with guitars, will depend on your domain name. The owner of 2 great guitar domain names has contacted me, and he has them for sale. Those 2 domain names are guitarbuyers.com and cashforguitars.com. Call or email them at the contact information listed on that page, and they will give you 20% off the purchase price. In addition, they'll work with you to make payments if that's what you need. Again, that's guitarbuyers.com and cashforguitars.com. Hey guys, I got something really cool going on. This is a fantastic opportunity for actually you and I to meet and for you to hear some incredibly cool music. On Tuesday, October 1st, the Nashville guitar community is putting on a tremendous show of some of the top players. Pat Bergeson is going to be there. I had him on the show. He was mentored by Chet. Andy Wood, who's like lightning dangerous, also another guy that was on the show, plays mandolin, guitar, acoustic. He's a wizard. Darren Favorite, who's also on this show, 2nd or 3rd generation Nashville player. Matthew Lee, he actually runs a Nashville guitar community, along with Paul Johnson and John Stazella, and he is such a tremendous player. Meg Williams, up-and-coming blues star, and Terrence Downing, solid player, rocking in Nashville as well. So it's only $15 to get into this event. Again, it's Tuesday night, October 1st. The doors open at 6 p.m. The show starts at 7. It's going to be at the Analog Room at the Hutton Hotel in Nashville, and I think that's on West End Avenue. Tons of gear giveaways from Wampler, Eminent Speakers, GuitarEFX.com, BTPA Cables, Lucky Dog Guitars, Groon Guitar Store, Morgan Amps, and Von Scow. Pre-sale tickets. Go to the Nashville Community Group on Facebook, and they'll have something for you there. And they also have videos of previous performers at this show on their YouTube channel. The other really cool thing is these guys have been kind enough to invite me to be the guest MC of the event, and I will certainly love to meet you. If you listen to the show, please come up, say hello. It's going to be a great night. Tons of cool guests, really good musicians. So come on down. Show starts at 7 at the Analog Room at the Nashville Hutton Hotel. All right, I will see you Tuesday night, October 1st. Be there. Aloha. If you want to buy or sell a home or investment property and you're here in the Tampa Bay area, in Hillsborough, Pinellas, or Pasco counties, then listen up. West Florida Real Estate is a local residential real estate broker that's helped over 250 Bay Area homeowners buy and sell their properties in the last 4 years alone. If you're looking to sell, you'll want to get their free report, The 7 Biggest Mistakes Homeowners Make When Hiring a Realtor. And if you're looking to buy a property, you definitely want to get your hands on the 21 Most Expensive Mistakes Tampa Home Buyers Make When Buying a Home. Each one of these reports is going to save you time and money. Inside, you'll discover the 7 most important things to consider when hiring a realtor, what to do if you're buying and selling a home at the same time, and the danger of choosing a realtor who agrees with everything you say. To get your hands on these free reports, head on over to westfloridarealestate.com. That's westfloridarealestate.com. Hey, this is Craig. If you like this show and you want to support it and you want to keep it free, head on over to everyonelovesguitar.com/support. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/support. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. We have a repeat visitor with us. We're with Adam Zimmon. He's a friend of the show and a friend of mine. He's a great guitar player with Ziggy Marley. If you have not listened to his original episode, go back into the archives at everyonelovesguitar.com and check it out. He also has a side project, which is it's like a supergroup side project. So that I wanted to turn you on to today. It's called Vida Blue. And those of you who are old like me, and dare I say old like Adam, will remember Vida Blue as being a great pitcher, mostly for the Oakland A's back in the day. And let's dig it, man. Adam, thanks for coming on the show, man. I'm really happy about your new I didn't know what to expect. Fucking loved it. Sorry, I'll shut up. I loved it.
That's all right. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. Let me tell you, I've told you this. I want to tell the audience, I laughed. I don't remember. It's like I've done 600 episodes. I don't remember every episode, but I remember the feeling of pretty much everybody, good, bad, or otherwise. And I laughed more with Adam than anybody else. I don't even remember. I can't remember what we were laughing at, but I walked off of that. I was like teary-eyed. I don't even remember what we were talking about. You may do, but so this guy, he's got a great sense of humor. I mean, he's a badass guitar player, and he's just a great guy. So I'm really happy you're back. Thank you.
Maybe I should start a podcast.
Do it, man. Laugh with Adam. Laugh with Adam. I'm feeling this, man. I will help you get it set up. Yeah. Laugh with Adam. You know who else is very funny? And I don't know, you might have even
/with.
No, laugh with. No, it's just laugh W.
We're workshopping. It's fine.
That's it. You know who else is really funny? And maybe I think you might have even turned me on to him. Do you know Lawrence Katz?
Yes, Lawrence is like one of my closest. That's exactly. Lawrence is. That
dude was
you hilarious. See why we get along.
Was, oh my God.
He's thoroughly charming.
Next time you see him, say, man, we are #blessed.
That's right.
Just say that to him.
Trust me, at our office for the day. And, I'm going to see him, I think, in Philly in 2 weeks or so.
That's hoping. Awesome. Well, send my regards to him. I really enjoyed him. And
I will.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall in that conversation. Anyway, man, let's talk about Vida Blue. Great new record. Tell everybody, it's kind of like a super group of sorts. So tell everybody who the members are, how'd you guys get together, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, well, it's a super group kind of before me. And I was sort of invited into it later on, and actually, I guess officially as of this recording. So, but what happened was, as I sort of understand it, Vida Blue is a band that Paige McConnell, the keyboardist from Phish, put together as his side project. And it's him and Oteil Burbridge, who's, sort of, I don't know how to describe Oteil, but he's currently in the Dead and Company.
Oh, he was with the Allman, wasn't he with the Allman Brothers? Yeah, for years.
Yeah, for years and years. Tedeschi Trucks for years. And he's just a beautiful person and just a incredible virtuoso. And he was before all that, he was in this band, the Aquarium Rescue Unit.
Oh, with Jimmy Herring.
Jimmy Herring. And, just an overwhelming, amount of ability, and, same with Jimmy, just astounding. And Paige, so it was Paige, Oteil, and Russell Batiste Jr., who's, drummer from New Orleans, part of the Batiste family. It's almost like a funk version of a Marsalis family, like a dynasty of everyone plays music. I think the Late Show band leader, I think they're related as well. It's like a nephew or a cousin, John Batiste. But Russell's and I think Russell, there was an incarnation of the Meters called the Funky Meters.
Yes,
because the only drummer that apparently two of the guys, I think Leo and George Porter, don't really get along or had a falling out, and they all play sort of separately. I may have it wrong, but the only drummer that all of them after Zigaboo would sort of agree to get together with was Russell. And Russell's just, he's just aside from being, this incredible player, he's a beautiful guy, but he's also just a funky just person. He just comes from he lived it his whole life. I feel like he was probably playing drums and music before he could walk or talk, and and not only that, but when you work with him, he's literally yelling out, specific notes he wants you to play and chord voicings. And it's like, it's not just a street thing. He literally has all the depth of musical knowledge that, any schooled musician has, and then some. So it's kind of mind blowing. He sits down and plays any instrument,
That's pretty, his groove on this record, dude. That was the first thing I said to you. I said, man, this record is amazing. Russell is just like crush. I mean, the whole record is.
Well, that rhythm section.
That's a pretty good rhythm section. Yeah.
It's like, the way I've been thinking about it is sort of like, what do these get? Like big wave surfing, where you just kind of, I'm just trying to, be cool and hold on and not get thrown.
Yeah. No, man, you hold your own.
Because they're so it's just incredible. And so Page put together this trio, and that was his band, and they made a record and they went on tour. And at some point in the early 2000s, I was on the road, but I had a band with like sort of a collective. I wasn't the main band leader, but sort of a one of the original members, and called the Spam All-Stars.
Spam All-Stars, yeah.
And the Spam All-Stars, look them up if you haven't. It's really unique. It's this beat-based music that sort of works like a dub with Cuban musicians and horn players, and we had a night at a club in Little Havana.
Yeah, because you started this when you guys were at University of Miami, if I remember correct. Is that?
Well, this is sort of shortly after, but it started. The band leader Andrew, who's kind of a mentor of mine, he started it with some different people. Then it kind of fell apart, and then he started doing it in this way. He started like sampling beats and, at sort of the cusp of when all that was going on. And we started, the two of us, doing like pirate radio shows and improvising on pirate radio and making weird recordings and spoken word things. And just, it's a real, like, it's an art project. And but eventually it expanded to be sort of a bigger collective with all these different influences. And the band had a night in Little Havana at what was sort of like a famous Cuban club. And the night sort of became a thing in Miami. And, Mick Jagger had come through, Prince one night. Prince never saw, I was away for a lot of this. I was on tour when the night really blew up, but then I would just come home and play with the band. So Page saw that band and I wasn't there. And he decided to make a record with that band because the band doesn't have a proper bass player or drummer. The beats and the bass lines come from Andrew, the band leader, who also has like records, and it's a little hard to describe, but he's able to perform and vary the beats and bass lines with sort of methods that he sort of devised using these early samplers, Boss, like Dr. Samples and things like that. And it's great. And we did a record with Pee Wee Ellis also, and went on tour with Pee Wee. It's amazing. So, but Page saw that band and he decided, since there's he decided to make a record, and they made a record.
That was the Illustrated band, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I'm not on that record. I was away. Then at some point, he was going to do some shows with Vida Blue, and he wanted to take the band with him. And I had just come off the road, and our manager had sort of said, well, we have this guitar player, and he's sort of one of the, creatively and one of the main original guys. And I think sort of begrudgingly, because Page, if he had wanted a guitar player in the band, he would have gotten a guitar player in the band.
Yeah.
And he begrudgingly sort of, well, I won't speak for him, but he agreed to take me along. And as they do, we had 2 rehearsals, I think, before the first show.
With how many band members?
Yeah, we had, I think, 3, maybe 10 people on stage,
Wow.
But that's the jam band. They go, they're not afraid to for the band to get good on stage, and the fans sort of hopefully go along with that. So I was just sort of thrown in to the mix with these guys. And what ended up sort of happening was I was so overwhelmed, and I just kind of in sort of fight or flight, I realized don't try and show off. Don't be a hotshot. Just try and come up with cool parts and cool ideas. And it ended up Paige and I hitting it off, and he really liking what I was doing, so that after that short run, when he went to make his first solo record, he called me. And that had happened just after I stopped playing with Shakira. So the timing was kind of one of those incredible things gets called. So then all of a sudden I'm making a record with Paige. I'm in Brooklyn with Jim Keltner and
wow.
And Mike Gordon, the bass player from Phish, was on that record. And then I did that record. And then years later, we did another one. He invited me to do another one with another group of people. And that one actually with myself and this bass player Reed Mathis, who I should refer to, who you should have on the show, because of the way he plays the bass. And Gabriel Jarrett was in the band, and that's Keith Jarrett's son, which is always mind blowing, but also beautiful. An incredible player guy. So I made 2 records with Paige, and then when Paige decided, and he kind of spoke to me about doing Vida Blue gigs, and I was, of course, thrilled about it.
God, how would you not be? What a great crew, man.
Yeah, it's I kind of want to drop everything whenever he calls. It's the fantasy of being in kind of a big band, because they just have all the resources, and it's comfortable. And I love being a sideman. I like doing that, but it actually takes a little work for me to get out of that headspace and be like, no, we want you to just be creative and be yourself and do whatever you want. No one's telling you what to do or how to do it. So that's actually like a transition that I have to make, believe it or not. So
can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah. Anyway.
Especially, I think, in your case, because what you do with Ziggy, I mean, you could be on literally the same, you're playing, some various chord voicings, and you could be on, the same thing, on the 1 and 3 or the 2 and 4 for a long time, man. And that's right. A critical role. That's a very difficult role, though. I could give you and a long and probably boring dissertation on that role, but yes, it's very different. It's also, in that scenario, you're sort of, especially with reggae, it's sort of like a little sort of special forces, like military troop. Everyone's just sort of in the program, and everyone's focused on this mission statement of what you're doing. And interestingly, right, there is no point in that gig where
Ziggy or the drummer Santa, who played with his father and with Peter, it's just these guys who have been doing it. There's no point where they ever say like, yeah, we've got it. This is it. Every show you're working on the groove, and every sound check you're working on it, and you're working on the parts, and you're working on the music. And they never stop sort of there's no autopilot. In that sense, it's sort of like the jam situation, because you can't, as opposed to a pop gig, which can almost become like a Broadway show where you're just showing up and you're just like, once everyone knows it, they're just kind of repeating it and using those muscles the same way. The reggae thing, you're kind of you are sort of digging in on the same muscles every day, and you're not improvising that much. But at the same time, the sort of the militancy about what you're doing and how the groove's got to be, and everyone's sort of intensely focused on every detail for themselves and for the band. So that's like no man left behind kind of thing. And if anyone, it's not like mistakes are sort of like, oh yeah, whatever. I mean, there's always going to be mistakes, but everyone's sort of looking at each other to kind of do their best and pull their weight. So it's good in that sense, but very different, right? In terms of going into something like Vida Blue. And, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't having like sort of trying to get my head in that space and having a little anxiety, because those guys are always exercising the muscle of standing on stage and just jamming and letting it go and following wherever it goes. And I'm playing a lot, but I haven't been exercising that muscle so much. So I have to sort of, try and just psychologically get myself there, because I'm not in the 2-week break since I stopped one gig and going to the other. I'm probably not going to be able to just sit and practice that into myself, because it's something you just do on stage. You get better at it. So that is it's a very they're very different animals, and even different from playing live with Vida Blue is different from making the record. So because the record's a little more a little more of a sweet spot for me. No, that's okay.
I just want to tell you, man, I know I told you this when I was texting you. There's a bunch of breaks in there where you stretched out. It was so great to hear you play, man. I mean, it was really pretty. I'm not, me, I don't blow smoke up people's ass. I'd say nothing. It was great. Yeah. It was really great to hear you stretch out, man. There was some really long breaks, some really, really pretty solos that you took in there. And wasn't even almost like a solo, because the vibe of that band is just like, it's such a laid back hang. Even as a listener, you can feel that, right. It was just like, okay, it's Adam's turn to stretch out, and it was great, man. It was really pretty, man. So,
ideally, you want the solo, a solo to be, if it's not an extended sort of showcase, which probably has to happen more live, but on a recording, even when they sort of stretch out in sort of a jam, I still think it really, you have to sort of look for like a musical concept or tell some kind of story, because otherwise, live jam can have, go anywhere or something, but that doesn't always work so well on recording. It has to really just I personally, I kind of look for more of a narrative or something,
You did great, man. Honestly, not that you need me to tell you. I really enjoyed the record. It was I was a little, to be honest with you, I didn't know what to expect, but part of me was skeptical, because I was like, some of the jam band stuff is just not my thing. And I was like, whoa, this is so well put together. Those songs were so well written.
Well, not as anything negative. I'm not connected to the jam band scene much. I'd love to be more involved with it, especially as the way because it's such great work. If you can get it, the fans are great. But as far as musically, like, I think Paige, part of why we got involved and how our friendship and relationship it goes, because I'm not really that connected to stuff, and he never expects that. I mean, the last thing he wants is sort of, I don't think there's much gained from being around sort of fan of like trying to work with, or too much fandom or things like that, or someone's going to look at him as separate him out. He just wants to, make music with friends, people he agrees with. So I years ago, I had to like sort of ask the organization. I had a period in high school where I went and saw them. That's kind of a, way back when I saw them in a club or something like that. And it's kind of cool that I could, be going to see this band in high school and then be playing with them.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. But I think everybody has that in your business.
Yeah,
everybody. Everybody.
It's true. It's beautiful. But I at some point I had to sort of ask, like, from the organization, hey, can you send me some CDs and some music so I can sort of, get my head around stuff a little better and things like that. And then I've been to some shows, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful. They have they created their own economy and their own world that all fans get to participate in, and be involved with every bit of it, and sometimes that's probably, a burden, and sometimes it's the best thing in the world. So,
well, of the problems of that or having nothing to do, I think, it's probably a better problem to have than not, but
well, it's interesting, when you play with like a big pop artist or something, like I was younger, I felt like, oh wow, this is success. Look at this. It was like Entourage and all this like stuff all around. And at the same time now, when if I go see Page and those guys playing, I go like, no, actually this is success. These guys are just doing whatever. They're beholden to no one.
Yes. And that is like a really good feeling.
God, they played 13 nights in a row in Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Like a couple months before we made the record, he's telling us the
13 nights in a row.
Yeah, and they didn't repeat a song.
That is badass. That is wow.
That's the
Well, as a marketing guy, I can tell you that's a great. And I know that's not why they did it, but it's like, hey man, you got to buy all 13 shows in this box set. Seriously.
Well, they know their fans will do that. I mean, they can play, right. That's they just get to choose,
right.
So, it's crazy.
Awesome,
I mean, and I think the theme was a baker's dozen. So they had a different donut for every night. This is a very sidetrack because I'm not that gonna, but I just remember. So every night was a different donut that they would bring 5,000 donuts in for the first 5,000 people would get a donut.
That's pretty cool.
And then even sometimes musically that it would fit. Like I think when they did Boston Cream, he had like a thing where they're playing like More Than a Feeling into Sunshine of Your Love. You know what I mean?
It's so funny. That's awesome, man. Yeah, but that's what gets people engaged, man. That's,
exactly.
That's great, man.
Anyway, enough about not me.
Yeah, man, let's talk about you.
No.
So basically, Paige, after this, it all worked out in the end. And we're paid.
Yeah, we've been working together. We've been working together a long time. Of course, it could be 10 years or 8 years between times when we work together when he calls me, but we keep in touch. And so then, when he decided to make a Vida Blue record, he, reached out to me. And of course, I'm just, on the next flight I can get, or moving again, and especially to play with those guys and it's just incredible company to keep, so I'm very lucky.
Let me ask you, this is a weird question maybe, but what was the motivation to put a record out even? Because this isn't, this is the new music world, and you guys, a lot of people are putting out EPs, 5-song EP or something like that.
Right.
You got 8 full-length songs, almost an hour. It's a lot of material. What was are you guys going to tour?
I really think. Well, we're going to play a couple shows. We're going to play 3 shows, and
where
are
the shows going to be?
Philly, DC, and the Capitol Theater in, I think that's sort of Westchester, New York.
Yeah.
And honestly, the whole thing kind of comes from Page. He kind of decides and makes, he does the work. And he does all the heavy lifting. He has sort of the infrastructure to sort of do it. So it's sort of up to him. And I really think that I can't speak for him, but as far as making a record, and all that stuff, we make the record, it was 4 days of recording. And in that 4 days, the record is like, I would bet we recorded, 4 or 5 hours at least of material. And that, because when I get the record, it's like, I don't remember any of those things. I barely, they're just, because we record a ton of stuff that he brings in. And so it's sort of like, and most of what you're hearing is live. There's I think at the end of the last day of sessions, we did a few overdubs, and then he takes it and he works on it. But almost everything, most of the guitar playing and all that stuff is just sort of what happened then. And the Spam All-Stars are on a couple of those tracks that we did on a separate day within those 4 days. So the process of making a record's not, it's a lot more work on Page's side, getting it finished. But getting us all together to make the record is just logistically sort of setting aside a week and getting us all in the room together and doing the logistics of that. And at the same time, I like I said, I can't speak for him, but I think in general, I'm not sure that worrying about the musical climate or new media or is really much in the calculus. It's more just the process of making a record is something that I want to do, and everyone wants to do. And I think he wants to do that work and make a document of that work and creatively, make that music and have it done so that, then you can move on to the next music you're going to make.
I like what you just said. He wants to make a document of that. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. I
mean, I think so. Like I said, I don't want to speak for him. But I think in general, a lot of the, people that really are artists or exercise the artistic muscle, a lot of it is just this, it's sort of almost like a physical need to get this material out of you so you can move on to the next thing, because that's what you're doing. You're being creative and you're exercising that muscle. And I think just, making the record is really the point. I think the thing that comes out is you hope the best for it, but the process of making it is kind of the really fulfilling part, the thing that matters personally even more. And I do think, aside from that, there is a bit of a look towards not just having the band play a couple shows every 10 years, that maybe once it's a little more, once we do this, that maybe next year there's like a window we can do a couple shows, and then just to play. That
would be great. I would love to see you guys, man.
Sort of playing a little more regularly, and it's not hard for him it's not hard for us to, they have the luxury. He has the luxury of, when he books shows, pretty much people are going to come out for it.
Oh yeah.
So, and same with Oteil, people are going to come out to see him, and so it's just a matter of deciding and how it sort of fits into life and things like that.
That's awesome.
For me, I'm always, ready to go. But for they like, particularly Oteil and Page, they they're in these, their organizations are sort of these big ships that move and so. Yeah.
I want to talk about a couple of the tracks on the record that I really enjoyed. And again, it's Crossing Lines is the name of the record by Vida Blue. You had a song in there called Fade On or Faden. Am I pronouncing it right? Phai.
Yeah.
Faden.
Faden, I think. And yes, that's it.
It was a beautiful ballad, great guitar solo. I think it was in C minor because I picked up my guitar and played it. Not like you. I mean, I just picked up my guitar. I didn't play it. But I was curious, who's Faden and what guitar were you playing on that track? It sounded like a Strat.
Yeah, I honestly don't know who Faden is. That's, again, the songs are written by Page, except for Real Underground Soul Sound, which is Russell.
Yeah.
Which you can hear him basically shouting at us the section while we're playing it. And Real Underground Soul Sound is actually, the acronym is RUSS. Which
I see what he's doing. There you go.
Russell apparently wanted to call it Page because he's always yelling Page when he wants Page to take breaks during the song. So, but I'm not sure of any of the like sort of personal side of that song, but it's definitely it's a beautiful song. I love playing it. I wish I could remember if it's either a Strat or a Telecaster, or the front pickup on Telecaster. It's hard to say. I can't remember it exactly. I basically used the same amp for the whole recording, which was like a Vibrolux I borrowed from my friend from the Spam All Stars down in Florida, and which I loved. And I don't even remember. Right, you mentioned something about that it goes into overdrive.
Yeah, the second half of the solo, it just boom.
Yeah, I don't even remember if I did that or if I'm just playing
crank it
harder. Or it could have been I stepped on and pushed the volume, like a volume pedal, because it doesn't sound. If I think about it, it doesn't sound too much like a pedal. Like the tone is changing too much, like an overdrive pedal would do. I could have rolled up the volume.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
It's like at the moment. And we were all just playing in a small. We were in Miami in Criteria Studios, and that's
cool.
Kind of a small room. The room we were in, so there was a lot of sort of regulating the volume at times to not be either too loud or bleed into things, and which I don't necessarily view as a bad thing. Sometimes you can't get like a wide open crank sound, but there's also something good in I like the way the guitar sounds when it's sort of the amp, everything's a little too loud, but you're sort of holding it back with your hands and dynamics. And so maybe you're getting some of that like little effect. They also might have run it through something.
Post. It sounded great, man.
That's possible too. Thank you.
And then I also like the song Maybe, where Page, the B3 on there sounded so good, man. He knows how to get some keyboard sounds, that's for sure. Yeah. but it was really pretty guitar, like behind the keyboards pretty much throughout. It was really very harmonious, very hard, very melodic.
That sort of ambient like dialogue. He likes that. I really like doing that, and that's sort of the record I made with him. His second solo record it's largely instrumental. It's called Unsung Cities and Movies Never Made, and the idea was sort of soundtrack and sort of cinematic stuff for and so we have like a good sort of rapport that way, and I enjoy doing that, and that's sort of all a little bit of like what begat from Bill Frisell or any of these ambient ish style where you're sort of accompanying in sort of a textured way, I guess I don't know how to describe it.
No, that was well, I had a question. Were you playing like bits and pieces of arpeggios throughout, if you remember, right behind that? Or
it depends. It depends, because basically it's like, it's never. So what I like to do with that stuff, there's people, like you've had Joel Shearer, right? Joel's master
ambient
like,
king.
There's people that get like, just create like a huge texture of sound, and then work within that and create this like, and that's one way of doing it. I sort of, in that context, I like to actually use, I wouldn't say the bare minimum, but sort of not have a ton of ambience, enough so that it sounds like not quite like a guitar, but just so that when I'm using the volume pedal and I'm moving chords around and I'm playing arpeggios, they still sort of show themselves as sort of guitar, and it's not
totally
sort of a wash. So that, and then I can sort of, control sort of the bar, like that things are, if I don't want them to spill over into the next bar, they're not always, it's not that dramatic. It's not just a sort of, because I do find if you use a ton of reverb or a ton of delay, it'll sort of, it can sort of just wash out the whole track. A little delay on a guitar can like sort of make it, and will affect everything else in a track. So it's a little bit like, I like to, hopefully I have the ability, if I want to play an arpeggio here at a spot, that kind of speaks through. And then if I want it to just be sort of like a pad sound, that sort of will work too. It's a little bit of like a combination of those things, but it's just that the delay is not that extreme.
Yeah.
The reverb and delay are there, but it's not that extreme, so that I have like a little bit more control over it. It's just that when you take away the attack of the guitar with the volume pedal or the volume knob, that's the effect is more ambient.
Dude, it sounded great. I love that song. To me, it was like a 7-minute psychedelic jam. I loved it, man. That was
yeah.
phenomenal.
I enjoy doing that always. That's really a fun thing for me to do.
And my next comment, we already talked about. I said Russell Batiste just kills it on this record. He's so tight. Yeah. The engineering was so good on that. Page's vocals, I mean, it sounded like he was here. Because I don't listen on, I have actual speakers. For millennials, speakers is big thing, that music. Anyway,
there's two of them.
Yeah, there's two of them. But his vocals, man, it was like he was here, right in my room here with me. It was really cool. The engineering on that was, the mastering was.
They always,
really
Page
good.
always brings in, any of the top people. That was all. At least the engineering of all the stuff we did live was Danny Kalb, who's incredible, who was in LA. I think he lives, I still remember where he lives right now. Maybe Ohio.
What's his address? No, I'm just
his phone number. But Danny, worked on tons of great stuff. And I think when he was in LA, I never met him, but he worked out of this place called The Ship, where he engineered some of Beck's records and things like that. Cool.
Yeah, this was,
but Page is always with Phish or whoever they're making records with Chad Blake or with any, it's sort of, they get to follow whatever they feel like, as far as the cream of the crop. So,
it sounded like it was phenomenal.
And a really kind of luxury or fun thing about that also for me is that, right, most scenarios you're working for somebody or whatever, you're sort of setting up and accommodating to make what they need, what the music needs or what the artist needs. So that might change how you have to operate. But of course, with this band, you know, the band sets up to play, and then everyone else sort of has to accommodate that.
Which is, man.
As a sideman, that's like, you know, you're not always used to that.
Yeah. No, I totally get that, man.
You're just sort of.
What's your favorite song on the record?
Honestly, I really, it's hard to say. I really, you know, it's funny because the record's made largely live. I struggle to not hear, you know, mistakes and things that I wish I could have gone back, which they'll never let me do because that goes against the style.
Yeah.
You know, and there's moments that really, you know, I can feel like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to figure that one out, or just.
But you're hard on yourself, man. Let me tell you what, I reference you often because you have the funniest response to this question. And I think I told you this. Sometimes I ask, what do you like most about yourself? And I always think of your response is, how can I answer this question when I have so much self-loathing?
Well, I figure a lot of your guests can relate to that.
100%. But it was so funny. But you're tough on yourself, man.
I really like the first track, which is Analog Delay, because I love sort of the fuzzy getting to do the fuzzy sort of noisemaker guitar. I think the energy of it's really kind of unique, and it's also sort of there's a lot of ambiguity in the harmony.
Yeah,
the bass just sort of stays in one place, and the harmony moves around it. Where when I listen to it, and even when I'm sort of checking it out to try and brush up on it to playing live, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out like how I made those decisions at the moment. and I can't, and I'm even sort of waging that battle of like, should I try and really figure this out, or do I just, you know, wait for the moment when we're playing it and just use my ears and trust it. So, but
wait for the moment. You will figure it out. Yeah. The force will be with you, man.
Ideally, you know.
Yeah.
But usually that happens like after more than 3 shows. But I really like, I think that tune has just this insane, you know, that's when Russell, it's hard to believe that that's just one guy at a drum set.
Dude, that guy is like so fucking tight, man. I mean, this thing, just it was like, look, everybody played great, and I hear, you know, and this is why most artists that are also guitar players, they start with great drumming. When you have that, the dynamic of the whole unit is different. When you have a great drummer, what you can accomplish is night and day, you know? Yeah.
And to, you know, I've had the good fortune of playing with a lot of great drummers. And the thing that I would say that the thing that's common across all of them, at least for me personally, is when you're playing with a good drummer, you never think about your own, you don't really have to think about your own time. It sounds odd, but if I'm playing something simple with a drummer, like eighth notes or some kind of rock thing, and I feel like things are I'm unsure of where it is, a lot of times it kind of make me be suspicious of the drummer. Not because my time is like unstoppable or whatever, but a good drummer just makes everybody feel like they can do no wrong.
Yeah.
And everything can be sort of in the variable of the time that they're creating. You know, it's like everyone's just sort of gets to ride with them.
Well, you know? He's the kind of drummer that he makes you a better player. Is actually, for sure, man. Because good
drummers do that. I mean, that's the truth. The rhythm section, it's sort of like I was talking to Paige about music that were, you know, covers and things we're putting together and for the show, and there's like the whole first record or 2 records that I'm not involved in, and he's like, he could tell because of the way I am that I'm a little anxious about what I have to, like the homework I have to do or whatever. And he's like, we used to play with just three of us. So whatever happens is fine, and those guys, the truth is the better a rhythm section like that, like, yeah, you've got a lot of leeway. You just have to like make good choices and unforced errors if you can, so yeah, it's amazing.
Adam, I am really happy that you sent me this. It was a great record. I want everybody to check it out. It's Vida Blue, Crossing Lines, just a tremendous record. If you only have a couple of minutes, listen to like Faden, listen at P-H-A-I-D-O-N, maybe. And then what's the last track called? I don't have my the one that Russell wrote. R-U-S-S. What is it?
Yeah, Real Underground Soul Sound. It's like a full meters thing, but a little crazier.
It's great. And there's some really long jams in there, which I like. I dig that kind of stuff. So
good. I appreciate it.
No, man, thank you. And just to remind when are you doing these shows? Is a show in Philly?
I think the album comes out the 20th and the shows are the 18th. I think DC on the 18th. Let me hold on.
Oh, this is in September. This is probably be out. The shows will be gone before this drops, I think.
Right.
Better question. Where are the shows going to be posted? Because if more shows are coming up, I want people to know where to look.
Well, they'll always be on, whatever that jam. I think it's called Jam Bass or something. Yeah. All that stuff. They'll always appear there.
Is there a Vida Blue Facebook page?
I bet there is. I don't.
Let's go.
Here you discovered my terrible.
Oh no, media. Man! No. It's called Being a Musician.
Yes, I did fix my website. It's still under construction, but you can reach me through there.
Adam Zimmon. There you go.
I don't think there's I don't know if any of that stuff's done before. I don't think so. I think you said there's probably a Vida Blue website, or it might all
Instagram. Maybe there's a Vida Blue Instagram. Besides the picture Vida Blue.
No, I think it just comes all through Paige. So if you go to Paige McConnell's Instagram, which I think he has 4 posts, 3 of them are Vida Blue, really.
Awesome. So go to Paige McConnell's Instagram, and you'll get any kind of touring that Vida Blue
and
is doing.
I'll repost stuff, and as well as sometimes Oteil posts things, and Russell does too. So all those guys are worth following: Oteil Burbridge and Russell Batiste.
Absolutely.
That they're, and it's a wonderful group of guys.
Dude, any famous or final words of wisdom? Brush your teeth and stuff like that. I got to tell you, man, I told you before.
Yeah, always.
Adam
keep a trash bag in your car because it gets full. You can just throw it out. And get to the gas station.
I'm going to play that for my. I'm going to play that for my son. Actually, my older son. He needs.
That's the advice the Dalai Lama gave to Steve Martin. That's an old Steve Martin joke.
Always keep a trash bag in your car. I'm going to say, Nick, if you're listening, there you go.
He goes, the Dalai Lama once told me, he said, always, no, wait, it was never.
Well, dude, it's always great talking to you. I'm really sorry I missed you when you were down here. I think what was going on? Oh, yeah, something was going on that weekend.
Multiple times.
Yeah, I don't think you didn't have a lot of time, and I think I had something going on. I don't know what it was, but hopefully next. I love you guys. Oh, man, I would love Vida Blue to come anywhere near here. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's on the horizon now, but it's just not this initial run, and I think it'll sort of be we'll all realize how much fun it all is, and then there'll be more shows. But
let me know, and I'll post it up on my social media because I'd love to see you guys. I'd love other people to see you guys too. So,
of course.
All right, brother. Adam, thank you for everything, man. I appreciate it. As always, it's a blast talking to you. I'll look forward to the next thing you come out with and get you back on the show. And thanks, as always. I love your Instagram. Do you have any social media you want people to check you out on?
My Instagram is usually mostly my son, and occasionally and travel pictures and some gear here and there.
You do great. I like your Instagram. It's like appropriate though. It's not like, no, but you know what I hate when like
I try to keep it. It's supposed to be entertaining. Right?
Yeah,
Somehow.
I mean, it's like here's my dinner. Here's my lunch. I mean, we all got to eat, man. It ain't that different than, it's really nice.
I have droughts because it'll be like, I'll be posting a bunch and then I'll go
you have a life outside of social media?
Right.
How dare you?
So, well, until I start to feel like, I need to be generating content.
Dude, you're doing great. I love this stuff with your kid. Man, I saw the last thing you posted. He's gotten really big. I mean, he's growing up, duh. But I mean, you could see it was a dramatic difference between like the 1 minute things and then like the last one I saw, which was a while back. So
yeah. And he's, I was away for 5 weeks. I come home. It's just, it's that much harder to keep I'm that much harder to chase him down.
Well, enjoy it now because like you have until 13 and then you'll want to be on the road all the time. Trust me.
Yeah, that's right.
All righty, man. Hey, thank you for everything. It's always good talking to you, Adam. Hang on, let me wrap this up. Thanks, brother. And everybody, please check out the record. It's called Crossing Lines by Vida Blue. Great album. I don't care what kind of music you like. There's something on here for you. But if you happen to like very melodic, very free. I'm going to say free because I don't want to. This is melodic. This is not like all different direct. Just shut up and listen and like it. Anyway, that's my words of wisdom for today. Everybody, listen, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this show, please share it on your social media channels with your friends. We definitely appreciate it. Check out Crossing Lines by Vida Blue and come see Adam when he's out with Ziggy Marley. Tell him you said hello. And go back and listen to Adam's original episode. It was really good. It was a very nice conversation we had. I think you'd enjoy it. Go to everyonelovesguitar.com and you can just type in Adam Zimmon at the top, Zimmon. And while you're there, sign up to get on our newsletter so you and I can connect. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. Adam, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Craig.
We hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe to the Everyone Loves Guitar podcast, and you can do this online at everyonelovesguitar.com or on iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star positive review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the higher our show ranks, and higher rankings mean we get to continue speaking with cool, interesting guests on our show. We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, keep playing your guitar and have fun making music.